here. I'm so honored to be here today and sharing what I've learned by, teaching this connection practice, the tool to be able to connect to emotions and then the needs and also your heart wisdom. So before I start, I would like to show you this video clip. This was recently shot in California as one of the pilot school program. And then just tune into your emotions as you see this. So hopefully, as I say, that I'm kind of nervous if I can connect to, let's see.
How
Yeah.
come I don't have a pen here anymore? Steal my pens. Yeah, this was my pen that was on my desk.
If people could mute themselves, or I will mute everybody.
So I cannot press this share button. How come?
Well, the one where it says share content.
Yeah.
At the bottom.
Yeah, I'm pressing it, but it doesn't work.
Worked yesterday when we did.
I know we did that. So, how come? Connected. No, it's not even. It's black. Can't really press it. How come?
Normally I don't have to make her the host. That was a flying ahead of.
Right. Do you think you can make me a host so I can start?
You should be able to do it without doing that. I'm not even sure I know how to do that. So.
Oh no, it doesn't start. I'm pressing it, but it looks like it's locked or something.
So when you push that, when you push that share content button, do your other screens show up?
Nothing. It's not even right. It's like not active. How come?
Okay, I think you might have to go forward. I don't know. I don't have I'm sorry, but I don't really have assigned privileges. Let's see.
Okay. I do it again. It's not active. That's strange. Oh, so does that mean that I cannot show you the site either?
Well, I don't know. It all should be fine. I'm not sure why you're not able to do it.
Can I just share with you the YouTube link so that you can show maybe?
You could. I guess if you emailed me. Yeah. Sorry to. I don't know.
What about putting it in chat? Does that work?
Hey, Roger, what if you go up to participant? Is there a way she can reclaim the host role? Can she make herself the host to do it? Is that possible?
Where do you see that?
If you go up to the menu at the top under participate or participant, it's an option. I don't want to push it with all these people though. I'm afraid it might mess up.
Wait, what do you think? What does it say in yours?
It gives me mute, unmute, mute all, unmute. And most of them are grayed out, but I do have this option to reclaim the host role.
See, and that's whited out for me. Reclaim the host role. If you go into participant, can you go into participant? Does it say reclaim host role?
Participant. Okay. How do I? I don't see that. Where do I? Oh, do you want to become a presenter? Is that it?
Yeah.
I pressed it, but it didn't change.
Okay, let me see if I can, I am gonna, okay. Sorry, folks. This is, all right. Can you now see that?
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna start it.
Okay, thank you.
Before we started the connection practice,
It's really raining out there. Wow.
there were a lot of instances where it just escalate to all kinds of yelling and screaming, violence a few times. It's really hard, especially to daughters going through puberty. This was one of the first times that I saw the power of the connection practice. And we were at the dinner table, and my older daughter and my wife were just really uncomfortable. Just all trying to kind of get them to quiet down. She got up from the table and she was confused, and she just disappeared. And then eventually we got her to the table and I walked into the living room and I saw that she had brought the connection board out onto the coffee table, and she had put all her feelings on the board and her the dry erase please look at this. So it was really just a beautiful gift to lead us to this way of healing conflict and finding a way to get through it together and to listen to our hearts. So after that, she, in that moment, she transformed from this young girl who was confused and fearful and angry to just this beautiful free spirit where she was singing and dancing. Amazing to see her transform in that way through connecting and listening to her heart. So now with this practice, I feel like we're able to connect a lot quicker. We're able to move through conflict quicker. We're able to focus on the connection over.
Before we started with the connection practice, family conflict was very challenging.
And not as important.
There were a lot of instances where
parts as a family. What I like most about the connection practice is learning to live more in my heart at all times, and learning to quiet down and get connected, get my mind and my heart in sync, and really starting to trust the wisdom of my heart. I also like the way that I'm beginning to see feelings and needs in a way that's much more helpful and with regard to interacting with people in general. I think that everyone could benefit from learning the connection practice, but especially when I first learned it, I thought about all of the other healthcare workers that work with me at the nonprofit clinic that I work at here in Berkeley. And we see a lot, it's mostly poverty medicine, so we see a lot of people that are dealing with very difficult social situations, social chaos, a lot of substance abuse, a lot of homelessness, a lot of different mental health issues. So it's very challenging. Every day can be really difficult for both the patients and the folks that are trying to provide care. So I feel that bringing the connection practice into our clinic could really transform the way that we're providing our services to allow folks to come into that place of compassion and of listening to our hearts as we do our best to serve the folks that come in whatever condition they might be. This practice has the power to really unite people and to allow people focus on their hearts, because when you're in your heart, violence and conflict is really helpful, and we can feel and know that and see that, so that we can begin to live in balance again, in harmony with each other, with the planet, with the animals, with all of life. So I'm very grateful for the connection practice.
Yeah, thank you. Can you stop that? Thank you. And then if you could just finish that and then change into the slide that I send you via email, I would appreciate it, Roger.
Okay, so you sent it via email.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did everybody hear the video? Yeah. Okay, if you could just write it in the chat if you could hear it. Maybe I can just summarize it. So this was the father of one fifth grader at this Fremont elementary school in California. And then they're having a really family conflict, especially the mother and the older daughter. Oh, you couldn't hear? Okay. Anyway, I will repeat. And then this daughter who learned connection practice at school came back with the board like this, using the, the emotions and then also the needs. And then there is this heart wisdom that they can also tap into. So there is a process of all this that we can briefly share today. And then so she brought the connection practice board back. And then when she was hearing all this conflict at home, she got really upset. So she went into her own room, and then she was doing it by herself in her room. So when this conflict was still in the middle of it, okay, could everyone mute everything? Yeah. Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you. And then after she worked with this connection practice board, she came out. Her insight said, I need to share this process with my parents. And so she was showing, I'm very upset and very irritated and very stressed out. And then my insight says that I need to share this process with you, how I feel, what my needs are. And all of a sudden the parents were just shocked to see the whole process. But more importantly, after she shared the release of all these strong emotions, and she could just go back to herself. So she's only what, fifth grader? She, processed all this by herself, and could also talk to the parents about it. And then she can just transform the whole conflicts at home. So this is the process that they were learning at this school, Craigmont School in Berkeley, California. And then they were learning about these emotions and also the needs behind them, and also how to calm their mind to be able to connect to the heart wisdom. And they can totally do it by themselves. I was there at one of the classes, and then they had some issues with the teacher actually. And they themselves, process this by themselves, and then naming all these feelings and the needs behind them. And then they can really connect to, what the teacher was going through by naming also the feelings and the needs of the teacher. And then in the end, when they calmed themselves down and somebody was leading it, and then they got these insights of like, we're going to raise hands, when we have a questions in the classroom. After the class, we're going to say thank you to the teacher. So all this, nobody was teaching them how to, but they came up with all these ideas. So it was powerful to see that process. And then one day the teacher was actually distressed because she had a minor accident at school on a field trip. And then she was sort of like shaking, but then it was just one of these students who was actually having a really difficult times from the beginning. He had a special need assistance every day, and he volunteered to go through the process with her. And then as she was, guided by him, coaching her, and she said, oh, I'm very upset, very distressed, and I'm shaking, I'm shocked, blah, 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 blah. And then my needs are, emotional safety and empathy and support. And then as he guided through all this process, she finally said, oh my goodness, all these needs that I wanted was actually satisfied by going through this coaching with you, the coaching session with you. And then she was in tears, and then he was really elated to be able to support the teacher. So this is the difficult student at the beginning of the year who couldn't really cope, and then this class was really difficult. So at the beginning of the year, all the psychologists and the administrators were coming to check how the class was going. And then when I stepped in, I had no idea how this class was, because everything was going through so smoothly. And then the amazing thing was that the pairs of students coaching each other, whatever is happening at home or at school, they have these issues, and then they came down with these issues and they said, okay, here's my issue, how am I feeling? And the coach is helping them through. And it was phenomenal to see how quickly they could come up with this, emotions and the needs behind them, and they really go through this, dropping down to this hard space and then coming up with some insights or the solutions. And it was really a matter of like 10 minutes. And then they were just going back to themselves and then go on with their lives. I was just so touched to the tears. So this can be done in such a short period of time. And then this class was actually a very challenging one, with so many special needs assistants coming in, and also so many 4 or 5 students. And then, it was too bad that we couldn't conclude the survey in the end because of the coronavirus. But there are lots of positive outcomes coming out of this. So, Roger, is there any way that you could open my slide that I sent you? Oh, great. Thank you. So today we talk about emotional first aid using the connection practice, solving, healing, and preventing conflicts at home and at school. So my name is Aya Nozawa, and I'm a director of international teacher training, a master trainer, master curriculum instructor at Razul Foundation International. And if you could go to the next one, please. Thank you. And thank you for being so resilient to go through this technology challenges. I really appreciate it. So this is a school that I was visiting. So it was about 20 students, and it's a normal public school at the top of this mountain. Okay, can you go to the next one? So when things like that happen, you might know already, but I'm going to just summarize it. So the stimuli comes, and then in this case, it's just a little dog. And then coming through these eyes, the information goes to the thalamus of the brain. And then if you have the past memory of some negative experiences, like this guy was bitten by this dog, it goes right away to this amygdala, which is always filtering all these past memories. And then if the matches happen, the amygdala just reacts. So in his case, his emotional perception was this huge dog biting and barking, ready to bite him. And if there were not the negative experiences like this, it would go through the sensory cortex slow track, it's called, and they say, well, it's a nice little dog. But in his mind, the emotional perception is like a dog ready to bite. And then what's going to happen? The amygdala just reacts, and then maybe he runs away, or he freezes, or maybe throws the stone at the dog. I don't know. So that reaction happens before the thinking pattern, comes in and then stop rationally. So in all these conflicts at home or at school, there is some sort of past memory stored in the amygdala, and if it matches, boom, I got to do something, before the mind kicks in, the feeling just comes out and then triggered. And that's how these negative emotions or all these experiences just repeat by itself. Okay, next one, please. So how can we create the pause between the stimulus and response? So Viktor Frankl, this Auschwitz survivor, said, between stimulus and response, there is space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. So in this pause, you can choose whether, just like the Asha, that girl who can just go bizarre and then scream and then just cry, or step out of that scene and then create that pause and then go through the process. And then she chose this beautiful ideas to show the process with the parents, and then that calmed them down to be able to solve the issues. So how can we create this pause between? So this is where the connection happens. Next, please. So the power of a connection practice. It is a synergistic combination of empathy and insight that maximize the benefit of the pause between stimulus and response. Consequently, that connection practice speeds up our personal and professional growth. Yeah, if we are trapped in these negative reactions, then we cannot get out of that. And next one, please. So what is connection practice? For those who heard this for the first time, I'm going to just summarize this. It is the skill that unites empathy and insight to meet any challenge in life. I've trained like 500 people, including educators and therapists and counselors or social workers, and then the effect is enormous. Empathy is attained through conscious connection to feelings and needs, and insight is accessed through heart-brain coherence. And you might already know the work of HeartMath Institute, but this is part of that, the techniques that we're integrating as well. This synergy between empathy and insight maximizes your social emotional intelligence, builds resilience, and enhances performance. Okay, next one, please. So the science behind connection practice. One, naming feelings reduces irrational reactions in the brain. This is research done, I think, UCLA, that the reaction of the amygdala calms down by naming and identifying the feelings. And then second, naming needs is taking the other person's perspective, which is cognitive empathy. So you can put yourself into somebody else's shoes. And then even though the person who doesn't really have the neuron at the beginning, by practicing something like this, you can actually create the empathy. So this is the little nice effective steps to be able to build that empathic skill. And number three, heart-brain coherence brings about positive effect, which increases access to insights. Or you can say creativity or intuition or ideas. Okay, next one, please. So the Craigmont School, this is so far the survey result that we got. 66% of students report that naming their feelings is very easy or easy to do. Or 66% of students report that guessing the feelings of others is very easy or easy to do. And 72% of students said that naming their needs is very easy or easy to do. With 61% of students guessing the needs of others is easy. And 74% of the students report that it is very easy or easy to get coherent, that space that you feel calm. So as a result of this training, they could say like it's getting easier to connect to the emotions and then the needs, and then also getting into that calm state of mind. Next one, please. So you might have heard that nonviolent communication before. The empathy part is inspired by the work of Dr. Marshall Rosenberg. And there are so many things that they are researching and sharing. So I would really highly recommend the work of Marshall Rosenberg. Next one, please. So when there is this incident that makes you feel, whoo, the feelings are there. And then getting in touch with the feeling is like a signal of what is really important for you. So just to think about, for example, like a car, where there is this little lamp or beep saying like, okay, you need to put the gas and gas and gas. Remember that? And then unless you fill the gas tank, the beeping still continues, no matter how hard you just hide it or put the tape over it by saying, this is so irritating. Unless you fill up that gas tank, it's going to keep signaling you and warning you. This is the same. So feelings are the signals of something important to you that are not met or that are met. So when your needs, that value or something important for you, are satisfied or met, then the positive feelings come. Like, "Ooh, I'm so happy because my need of fun has been met." Or when you have the negative emotions, that something that you feel very important are not met or not satisfied. For example, my video didn't come and I was nervous and confused because I need efficiency. I need the learning. I need to share. So stuff like this. There are lots of feelings coming up. And then imagine all these feelings. And then when I started, I couldn't really name. I had like 4 or 5 feelings and then I'm stuck. And then this is, similar with all other people who are entering into the training at the beginning. And then, but by the end of the training, for example, these students could really say all these feelings. It was just amazing and magical to see them. Even the little ones, as young as 4 years old, you don't think that they can really express it. But then just giving the words or vocabularies, they actually really communicate because they're feeling everything. We are all feeling, no matter how old you are. But just to name it is so powerful to be able to communicate and then get in touch with the needs that are universal, no matter where you're coming from. And then you can come down to the same level to be able to connect with the other person. Okay, next one, please. So next one is supposed to be the needs list. And these are just, samples. There are much more needs out there. But just to start out, a lot of people could say feelings, but then what are something so important behind all these feelings? It is actually a little harder. But then again, these students were really quick on the needs now after being exposed to this. And actually, one of the special at school was implement this connection practice. And then a lot of people decided they're not going to be able to connect to, social emotional learning skill. No way, because they can't really express. They are so challenged, in terms of communication. But this one teacher really believed in them. And it took her 1 whole year, but even one student who couldn't even connect to the feelings, therefore the muscle couldn't even move to be able to smile, for example. At the end of the 1 year training, he or she started to show the card to say, I'm happy or I'm sad. It was really phenomenal to see that. Okay, next one, please. So inside, how do we get into this heart wisdom or something more than just what your head can think? In ancient days, you hear all these proverbs like listen to your heart. And actually, it's proven now in newest science that your heart sends out more information or messages, you can say, to the brain than brain to the heart. And then there is this synapses and then all this nervous system, just like how the brain is, which means we have another brain here at heart. And then it is really controlling our decision and the emotional experiences and then creativity. So why not using this heart wisdom? And then we haven't been able to, unless you're really working hard at your school, at your practice or clinics or wherever you are working at. From my own experience as well, there was some part of me is like, you have to be rational, you have to be logical, and then the feelings and then emotions are something that you cannot touch. But these days I heard, CASTLE is working on it, and then Ministry of Education in Japan is putting it as a model to be able to implement this social emotional learning skill into their curriculum. Is changing. But how can we get more into the wisdom and tap into that wisdom in the heart? So this insight part was inspired by the work of Doug Childre and the HeartMath Institute. And there are lots of research done again, for ADHD students or dementia or all kinds of difficult, challenging situations can be actually controlled and then developed using this skill of coherence or insight. Okay, so please check on, all this research is done. And what is coherence? So coherence is the state when the heart, mind, emotions are in energetic alignment and cooperation. It is a state that builds resiliency. Personal energy is increased and then sustained, not wasted, leaving more energy to realize goals and then harmonious outcomes. So in the case of that girl who was in that the video, instead of screaming and then getting upset, she really get in touch with her heart and then drop into that space so that she can be really connected to all this energy, which is increased and sustained and not wasted, to come up with some ideas. Oh, wow, I can share this process with my parents. And then they were so inspired. And then he's actually, I'm not sure if you heard him, but he's a doctor at the community clinic. And then he is so convinced that connection practice can be so helpful for the clients and the families. So he is training right now, and then to be able to bring this to the clinic and then share this with the clinic. So what is coherence? And then when you're frustrated or nervous or sad or angry, your heart rate variability is jagged, just like in the first one that you see. And your heart and the brain are not in sync with each other. So it's like you are pressing the gas and the braking at the same time. Whereas when you create and cultivate this feeling of appreciation or joy or happiness, this heart rate variability, it is not the heartbeat, it's the slowing down and then speeding up of the heartbeat in between the heartbeats that is really stable and then very balanced. So appreciation that you can see, it's really nice and smooth. So which would you like? And then when you are having the problems, the issues, when you are in that emotional state of frustration or anger, whatever you're thinking about to solve the problems are not going to be coming out in that same state where the problem arises. So how can we get into that place where your heart is drawing all other organs to be able to function better with a maximum performance? And then this was also done for the training of baseball players in the States, or 4,000 police officers are trained in this way, so that they're not going to be getting all these emotions and then bringing back home, and then you think you're relaxed but your body still carries this tension, and then next day you're on call and you have to go. So that builds up of these negative emotions get you in the end. So how do we bring it down to coherent state so that you can use your ability or whatever you have as a potential to maximum a maximum. Next one, please. So that's the simple technique that we can practice. Maybe we can do it together. It's called quick coherence, one of the techniques that HeartMath Institute is sharing with the world. The first one is heart focus. The second one is heart breathing. And the third one is heart feeling of appreciation. So bringing our awareness to the heart, which is actually really influential as this is the first organ that is developed as a fetus. So it really influences all other organs. So when the heart is really balanced and then your attention is there, it's called like entrainment. It pulls all that energy of all these organs to be able to in sync with that rhythm of the heart. So that's the reason why we try to focus our attention around the heart, the chest area, and then breathe long and deep. And as you know, breathing always works. And then bringing yourself to be here and now. And then the third step is the appreciation. So the research says bringing appreciation is the quickest and the most stable way to be able to stay in the coherent state. So if you could think of anything that brings your body like, whew, just dropping into that stillness, whatever works with you, maybe the beautiful landscape or your pet that you love so much, or your grandchildren or children that you love so much, whatever works with you, or dipping in the hot springs, just like me. The point is your whole body goes, whew, and then just release that charge. So instead of thinking, oh, I am grateful for my parents, it's more like a physical sensation of feeling. Whew. So if you can think of one thing for now, let's use that. Okay, so if you can sit straight, your spine straight, and your feet on the ground. And if you feel comfortable, you can close your eyes as 80% of stimuli comes from visuals, but you don't need to. And then when you touch the center of the heart, where the hand touches, your awareness goes, but you don't need to. Okay. So get comfortable on your chair and bring your awareness down, down, down to your heart. And then connect to your heartbeat. And then still focusing at your heart. Deep and nice, comfortable breathing. As if you were in a place that you really enjoy being, or with the people that you love at this moment. And breathe nice and comfortable. And focusing at the heart, as if you are breathing into your heart and breathing out of the heart. And cultivate the feeling of appreciation with whatever is easy for you. Anchor that feeling of gratitude, expanding. And whenever you feel comfortable, and if you feel appreciation, slowly come back to where we are. Thank you. So how was that for you? Somebody said that this reminds me of meditation process. Yes. And it's the matter of 1 minute or so, and we can always come back to this place in the midst of all this chaos or this unknown, times that we have, and then there are more things that we need to do. So this is the quick coherence that we can just always drop into, and it seems like this is really effective. And then this is what these students were learning, and then they could really do it more easily than the beginning of the semester. Okay, next one, please.
So Veronica said feeling of warmth and peace, and Tamara said very nice.
Oh, yes. I think a lot of people are using mindfulness or meditation or some sort of contemplative practices. But this is really easy step, and then you can try it. So when you're in that state of coherence, your performance can be maximized. If you're players of some sort of sports, you can perform well, or if in terms of the students, with the training and without the training, your math proficiency or reading proficiency are almost 20% difference. So this was done around the Minnesota Basic Standards Test. Next one, please.
Sorry.
And in Costa Rica, where the founder, Rita Marie Johnson, started, she taught 1,500 teachers. And then as of now, 100,000 students already learned the technique, which is actually shown in one of the movies called Bold Peace. And the survey says aggression and violence had diminished. There was less intolerance and fewer conflicts. Misconduct reports decreased. Students learned to resolve conflicts on their own, just like the students in Claremont School. The relationships among teachers and with principal improved significantly. And I've seen that. I was actually training this daycare center, and then they had some issues with the staff and administrators. And then as they went through all these practices and then some works, they could solve the issues. Okay, next one, please. So Connection Practice received the first place among 79 projects from 32 countries, Ashoka Changemakers Innovation Award for building a more ethical society. Next one, please. And also received the Nautilus Book Awards. This completely connected by the founder, using our empathy and insight for extraordinary results, endorsed by Nobel Prize, Peace Prize recipient, the former Costa Rica president, Oscar Arias. And I also translate into Japanese too. Next one, please. The vision is a world where every person practices the art of connection and then passes this gift on. Just like all of us are, really dreaming about. And next one, please. So finally, I just summarized what has been happening in Asia Pacific region that I was responsible for. So this was introduced to daycare, 3 to 5 years old, and then amazingly, the kids were picking up so quickly. And at one occasion, I was teaching them, and then using this case study of the bullying, the group of kids were not including this one student, and then they were guessing the feelings like sad, disappointed, shocked, and then surprised, and then the needs were fun, play, and friendship. And then I didn't know what the shock was. And then one kid just pointed the card up and said, peace. I was blown away. So if, the children were given with the vocabularies, they can really, because they feel it, we all feel it, we can really express it and communicate. And next one, please. And again, this was kindergarten and elementary school in Osaka. Staffs are trained, so they're always implementing in daily conversation, and it reinforces children to use it. Next one, please. Public elementary school, they're all wearing the masks. This was done a little, earlier. Then they were saying, I feel happy, my gentle heart is expanding. So they could really describe that feeling like, we all felt. Next one. In junior high school, as a part of English class, and somehow it's interesting to learn about the foreign languages. It's sort of like in a way of playing, at the theater, they're more engaged. So there was interesting insight about that. Next one. And family camps, children intuitively understood needs and vocabularies give them power to express. And then for the coherence, they said, I felt so relaxed. And then a quicker decision, clearer thoughts were attained. So they can really feel it. And next one. And training for daycare staff, teachers, and administrators all over Japan and beyond, and including special education staff training. Next one, please. And in higher education, a graduate level seminars for educators or all early childhood care center or department of hospitality and the management for customer care. Next one. And curriculum training to be able to teach children for trainers and educators. Next one. And Department of Children and Family Consultation at Isehara City Hall, Kanagawa, for child abuse and family support training. Connection practice and counseling for at-risk children turned out to be very effective. So Isehara City became a model city in Kanagawa Prefecture, right next to Tokyo, as there was no child abuse death case. So the upper management of the state said no other city implements a wonderful program like this. So they're still training the staff members. Thank you. Next one. An alternative school started integrating connection practice. So children at the beginning were not used to it, but they are now, getting really fluent in this kind of communication. Next one. And it was part of the peace education in Hiroshima where I was for 2 years in 17 and 18, 2018. And then there were peace educators from North Africa, Middle East, and USA. And they said the best peace education program I ever learned. I never thought about peace education this way. Next one. And I also reported at several international conferences in the States, Japan, Malaysia, Thailand, and at one of the teacher training in Thailand. So obviously this is a worldwide movement to learn more about social emotional learning and empathic skills. Next one. In South Korea, there was a 7th Asia Pacific Network of Holistic Education. And then going through this work made the participants cry. And then they said, this is peace. Because there was this tension between Japanese and the Korean government. And we were invited to the Happiness Institute, where they were training therapists and counselors to be able to deal with this emotional transition in case the South Korea and North Korea reunites. So we were invited to the workshop for educators and therapists and counselors. Next one. And this is the students who were leading everybody into that coherence. And then, so this concludes the whole presentation. So if you have any questions, and then this is the future that we are looking at. So I really appreciate everybody joining me today to, share this skill and then other skills to be able to create that connection in the world. Oh, and then lastly, actually 2 more I have to show you. So if we could go back while I'm, hearing some questions. Yeah, next one, the reference. So these are the reference, and if you want to know more, there is connectionpractice.org. And next one. And if you have any questions and requests for training and coaching, let me know via email, or if you're interested in more. We didn't get into the nitty-gritty of how this is done. We just summarized a little surface of it. So if you want to try it, you can go into this calendar that I created and then make a reservation. So first 6 participants today will get the free complimentary sessions if you like. Okay, so if you have any questions for last 3 minutes or so, I'd be happy to answer. Or Roger, if you can pick up anything in the chat.
Okay, I'm going to put us back on. I will, let's see, stop sharing. We'll look at people.
You can raise your hand, or you can write it in the chat, or questions or feedback, or I really appreciate it. This is something.
Tamara, okay, I see Tamara, raise your hand.
So my question would be, so I'm translating how this would look in the school environment if COVID-19 continues and we're doing school online.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
How do you see that? How would you see that translating? Do you see it working as well virtually as it does in person?
Yeah, of course, in person is always better. But if the situation continues like this, there's no other way. It's better to connect than not connect. So I was coaching the student as well, and then using, some charts or sometimes the board, and then just to go through the process of emotional, like upheavals is really helpful. And then I was working with this high school student who was really angry. Oh boy. But to just name it all the time, wow, you're really angry. Yes, I'm so angry. Just to express it instead of just disperse it through your energy is really calming him down. So after several sessions like that, he could start seeing, oh yeah, I needed respect. I needed honesty. I needed a trust. So by repeating that, even online, I think it's really useful.
It seems like some of the discussion, that's been going on in telehealth, they've been using things, they've been using the video to do psychiatric and counseling visits and so on. You probably have too. It's a, I think the question of how effective or if it's as effective, but I think it's going to be part of our lives.
Yeah.
There are a few comments, Ayako. Let's see. Thank you. This is a wonderful practice. I love this. It takes some of the communication skills we teach to another level, a heart level.
Mm.
And then Veronica Fletcher says, I think teen boys are socialized not to feel emotions.
Yes, it is really bad because I have 2 teenage boys as well. I know it all the time. Yes. But, you know, you cannot say, how do you feel at the beginning, but you can model it. So in a way to really integrate that skill in your communication, that really affects, it sounds like. And then that's the comment that I get from our boys too. And then this is what the staffs or, you know, the teachers at the different schools said. Like when we come with this, okay, we're going to teach you, it's really hard. So at the beginning, you have to really, you know, integrate it so that you can just use it in your daily life, and then letting them come along with it, and then the model it, and it's going to come naturally. And then on the top of it, of course, some training would be helpful.
Maureen says on Thursday, she's going to be talking about I feel messages.
Oh,
It
great.
goes along perfectly.
Yes.
It's gonna be that week.
Yeah, if I don't have the meetings or training, I would like to be part of it. This is our new language, you know. When we are not connected in person, it's more important to be able to communicate even more than before. So whoever is, you know, coming to this call today, please share and then use whatever is available so that we can be in this together.
As a dad with 3 daughters, you know, I've had to learn how to be more emotionally connected to talk to those girls, you know, because we are socialized in some ways not to feel emotions in the same way, but even as we get socialized early and then, you know, we have to unlearn it later.
Yeah. So I couldn't really get into the details of the work itself, but you know, you have to experience it to really see the value of it. And then they go like, whoa. So that's the level that I'd like everybody to experience.
So Ayako, I don't know if everybody caught that, but you said that you are open to do 6 complimentary private sessions
Yes.
for the first 6 people who contact you. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
If you go to that calendar, there
So
are,
maybe I should send this out to the participants just to make sure they all got that.
yeah, because in 1 hour you can do, you know, so much. Yeah, thank you. And then if you have any questions later or you're interested in training, just email me or email Roger to contact me. Either way. I
So
can.
Veronica says, I will share with my family tonight at dinner time. Florina says, thank you, Ayako. This was wonderful information.
Thank
And
you.
Veronica asked, is this one-on-one?
Oh, that complimentary session, yes. But if you have a group, yes, I'd be open for it.
Okay.
Yeah. I was in Japan for 2 years and I came back last year. So I really here to serve. And whoever wants to learn about this, I'm very happy to go out and then pair up with you.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Aya, and everyone else for participating. And that, you know, this was a teaser, I think, you know, kind of got you thinking about some of the things that are in this. They are, I'm sure well, I know there's a great deal more to learn about it, you know,
Yes.
that we are able to do in an hour.
The surface of it today. Yes.
I hope it was useful to everyone, and look forward to seeing you on our next WebEx, hopefully with a few less technological problems. But we were, as you say, we were actually pretty resilient. We kind of hopped up to it after we went through our little stupid things. But anyway, it's all cool. So thank you again. See you.
Thank you very much, everybody, to come. And Roger, thanks for inviting me. It was such a great opportunity. Connect.
All right. Goodbye, all.
Have a great afternoon.
Thank you.